All right, I want to forget to do that. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our July Artistic Masterclass. We are so excited that you're here. We have a great evening of improv for you this evening, and so I'm going to introduce our guests. We have actually two that are going to join us because it's hard to do improv on your own. So Topher Bellavia helped launch Washington Improv Theater's celebrated training program and has performed, directed, and taught improvisational theater for over 2 decades. A three-time champion of the Fighting Improv Smackdown Tournament, he has appeared on stages nationwide, including the Chicago Improv Festival, Seattle Festival of Improvised Theatre, and New York City's Del Close Marathon with his ensemble 161. As a teacher of improv characters, he's coached hundreds and taught thousands to tell truthful, compelling stories that inspire action. As a creative collaborator, Topher is a member of WIT Films, a multidisciplinary ensemble whose short films, including the nationally awarded Multiverse, have earned acclaim from the 48-Hour Film Project and beyond. His true story of resilience after a house fire was featured in Story District's Top Shelf, and he produced the comedy variety series The Charlie, now I'm going to say this wrong, is it Visconage?
Biscanage.
Visconage, I was so close. Charlie Visconage Show. He's brought improv principles to corporate and government clients, including PayPal, Deloitte, USAID, and others, using the yes and philosophy, which you're going to hear a lot about this evening, to strengthen team communication, creativity, and trust. He holds a dual degree in theater and American government from Wesleyan University, where he graduated with honors and gave a senior address excerpted by the New York Times and NBC Nightly News. Topher's comedy partner this evening is Greg Tyndale. Greg honed his writing and performing and directing skills at the Washington Improv Theater in DC. He's performed at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theaters in New York and Los Angeles, the Second City in Chicago, the West Side Comedy Theater, the Sydney Comedy Festival in Sydney, Australia, and many more. His comedy duo with Ava Lewis, called White Privilege, Black Power, was selected as a finalist in the Comedy Central sponsored Yes and Laughter Lab, recognizing comedy that works towards social justice. His onstage comedic storytelling has been featured in the Los Angeles Times comedy section. As a writer, Greg is a graduate of the UCLA School of Theater, Film, and Television Professional Program for Writing Television. He has written, directed, and produced multiple independent TV pilots, feature films, and one-man shows. So you are in for a treat this evening. I hope that you are feeling playful. This evening, we encourage you to have your camera on and to engage with some of the exercises and things that they're going to lead you through. So without further ado, I'm going to turn things over to Topher and Greg. Thank you.
Hello and welcome. Excited to be here. My mantra is to make as many people as possible have as much fun as possible. So I hope you're ready for that. I recognize some people, so thank you for being here. Um, I want to encourage you to turn on your video, as Marianne said. A lot of the positive mental and physical effects, benefits of improv, a lot of it's in the doing of it. But there's many ways to participate tonight, to do exercises, just to vote on things, to write in the chat, to participate in exercises. So we're going to do a variety of things, as long as questions and answers, and a little theory.
And
Um,
before we get rolling
yes,
too
please,
far,
Greg.
I want everyone to know that one of my first improv teachers 20 years ago was Topher Bellavia. And so I've known Topher for 20 years. And here's another thing that I want to say, because I'm a little self-conscious about it today. When I was young, I had part of my front tooth knocked out by a musical instrument called a clave. So we're all music people here today. Maybe other people have been hit with a clave before. But so after 20 years this week, for the first time, the bonding from my tooth fell out. So I have a little, if you see me smile, I have got a little gap in my front tooth. So I want you to know that it may be a coincidence that I've known Topher for 20 years and all of a sudden we do a class together and my tooth falls out 20 years later. I don't know if we can tie the two things together, but if you notice like, hey, that guy's got a chip in his tooth. It happened this week. I haven't fixed it yet. I'll do my best for next time to have a full tooth there.
We also have Charlotte with us, who's going to be bringing out some of the slides and monitoring the chat and people raising hands. This is like improv, an interactive evening. So if you have questions, we invite at any point with your raised hand or in the chat, and we'll try to get to them. And there's someone monitoring it, so hopefully we can get to as many people as possible. The first thing I wanted to look at is the effects of improv on seniors. So if we could have that slide. There we go. So there's mental agility. There's mental agility, laughter and joy, social connection, emotional expression, increased confidence, active listening, imagination, adaptability, a sense of purpose, and physical engagement. I've been teaching for 20 years. I've been doing improv for 35 years. But the last 6 years, I've been focusing exclusively on the senior community. And I definitely have experienced these benefits. The most important thing, if you could pull up slide 6, the most important thing for an improviser, the only thing you need to have as an improviser, because people say to me all the time, oh, I can't do improv. I couldn't get up on stage. I couldn't be a character. But the only thing you need to have is this empathy, basic human empathy. Because if you don't know why people do what they do, you can't be a character because you can't portray other people. And if you don't know why people do what they do, then you can't relate to other people on stage. So um, that's one of the major things. If anybody has any questions, please raise their hand or put the question in the
I'd like
chat.
to, if we can cut
Yes,
back to
please, Greg.
the full screen so I can see everybody's faces. So cut out of that. Yeah. So you are all singers, so you're all already performers. So I guess I want to be able to see maybe like from a just like raise your hand on your screen to how many of you feel comfortable or feel like excited about being on stage and kind of figuring things out. Maybe it's in song or maybe it's in another way. Is that something that is exciting to people or people? Yeah. So raise your hand if you're like, no, I like being in the unknown. I like figuring this stuff out. Okay. Yeah. So I see a lot of raised hands. Yeah. I think performers generally, they can feel that. They understand that's where the juice is. That's where where it's exciting. But that's really great. And I guess also from a show of hands, in the traditional sense of kind of improvisational theater, do any of you have actual background doing improvisational theater? Show of hands. Yeah.
Oh,
A couple
wow.
people.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Um, There's, I think, basic three core values in improv. The first one, and I think the most important, is listening. And you're listening for what's next. The question is, what are people listening for when they listen? Sometimes when asked this question, people say polite. They're listening to be polite. And that's not helpful, right? Listening is to get operable information. So in scenes, we're listening to know what to do next, how to respond next. And I think the same in music. I have a question too. How is listening work in music, as in improvising, if anybody? Um, well, let me go to the, oh yes, Mary. Oh, Mary,
Um,
unmute yourself. Yeah.
there. For me, I have to listen to the people around me, the different voice parts, and also listen if I'm singing wrong or the wrong notes, I can hear that too, because it's a dissonance usually. So there's a lot of listening and singing for me.
Mhm. Also in improv, we're listening for those mistakes, those errors. In a show, I feel like everything's a mistake. You didn't know what was going to happen before in improv because you're just making it up as you go along. Um, the second most important thing, or the most important thing, the thing that we say most in improv is,
Oh, Topher, I think you got muted.
yes. The most important thing in improv is yes and agreement and addition. Say in a scene, if someone says, "This is my dog," uh, and you say yes, and we should go to the garden and play with the dog, as opposed to, so that's what makes things go forward. In improv, if you say no, like say, "Is this is my dog," and someone says, "No, it isn't," then we can't move forward, even though you've made a choice. So we need to aggressively agree and say yes.
Yeah, one of the great analogies that I always liked was that when you're building an improv scene together, and this is true of just anything kind of creatively you're building, whether it's writing a song together, whether it's deciding on a performance together, it's this idea that um, how do you build a giant building or a cathedral without a plan? Like you have to build it one brick at a time. So as we're improvising and as we're listening to people, I'm going to say, hey, I'm just going to put this one brick down right here, this one little bit of information, and we're going to see who puts something on top of it, where it goes. And as you're going, is taking shape. And then all of a sudden, a choice that you make makes this side bigger or that side bigger. And I think just being really present and in the moment, that's where improv really takes off because you're being forced to really listen to everything, finding everything that's important, and then be able to build and grow off of that.
I think one that is hard for people is that in improv, trust is to be given, not earned. Um, so in rehearsal, this is what we're practicing. We're practicing listening, agreement, and trust between the group. Um, because if you're in front of 200 people and you don't know what you're going to say, you need to trust the other people on stage. Um, yeah.
I want to see if we can get some people active. If anybody would want to raise their hand and do a little exercise with us to kind of flex our improv muscles. Is anybody interested or brave enough to do a little something for us? I see Rishi's doing a thumbs up. I see. Okay, we got one. I tell you what, since Rishi, you're so brave, why don't you unmute yourself?
I can't.
Okay.
All right. So Topher, what would be our first activity that we would do, our first little exercise that I can do with Richie? Do you want to explain it to us, and she and I can do it together?
Someone else has raised their hand.
Oh, perfect. Who else did?
Mev. My name is Mev.
Mev. Okay, perfect. Okay.
Hi.
Hi. I'll do one with Richie, and then Topher can do one with Mev. So we'll have the experts walk you through it.
Great. Something that's related to yes and is a kind of heightened version of it that we do as an exercise, which is called That's Awesome, which is a heightened version of yes, and then comma because. And then we build with the other person new ideas and moving forward. So it goes back and forth and back and forth. So that's awesome because, and you make any statement, and the other person says, that's awesome because. Great. Greg, you want to try that out?
Yeah. Okay. So Richie, what I want you to do is just say an innocuous statement, just anything, and then I'm going to respond with "That's awesome because," and then I'm going to give a justification. Okay.
Okay. It's not raining tonight.
That's awesome because I have a huge barbecue planned, and I'm gotta cook the world's biggest hamburger tonight.
Oh, that is awesome. I love hamburgers. Well, yeah, and there's so many more things you can cook besides hamburgers, including hot dogs.
And that's awesome because hot dog is actually will heal you for most of your medical problems.
Well, that's awesome. I didn't know that. I have so many medical problems, including headaches, so I'm going to try it on my headaches.
Well, having headaches is awesome because you could probably get into like a really great study where they could implant, some new stuff into your brain to be able to have your brain move faster.
Well, that's awesome because my brain really needs to move faster.
All right, we'll call that there. Thank you, Richie. Yeah, I always think that this game is fun because we sometimes we think of a piece of information that has to like be one way, like, oh, this is, you might think something's bad or whatever. And when we're forced to take a thing, an issue, and look at it from a different angle and realize that, oh, well, the way that I see something might be different than the way that someone else sees something. And that goes back to that idea of empathy, is how do we be able to shift and relate to people in a different way. All right, Topher and Mev, you want to do one together?
Yes.
And I'm just checking, we're supposed to always say that's awesome because we're not supposed to.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. So you
That's
can say
awesome.
that's awesome
you.
because, yeah.
I just found $1, Mev.
Oh, wow. That is awesome because I always tell stories about that aren't very good. And then I say, and then I found $5 and people still don't laugh though.
That's awesome because I love to teach people how to laugh and I would love to work with you.
That's awesome. I was really hoping for an opportunity like that tonight because my cat is right here annoying me, going meow, 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 meow.
That's awesome because cats provide so much comfort and joy. And
That's awesome. That's so true. My cat, I live alone and I don't know what I would do without her because she wakes me up when I don't want to wake up. That's not really what I like. No.
that's awesome because alarm clocks are unreliable, as is electricity sometimes.
Oh my goodness. Yes, that's awesome that you're reminding me of that because we haven't lost power here for 2 weeks.
That's awesome because there's been a lot of storms and it's been happening to a lot of people.
You're right. It's awesome. I feel lucky because I feel lucky that my power line is underground now. That's why it's awesome.
That is great. This is awesome. That's a good job, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderful,
That was
wonderful,
fun.
wonderful. And Another thing is that you did really well was positivity. In improv and comedy, sometimes people feel like there needs to be conflict, uh, someone being mad at someone else, or people fighting. But people can be agreeable and still have fun. In improv scenes, sometimes you can be having fun with someone, and there's a storm outside. So you're together in that. Yeah,
Yeah, that's great. Can we play another game, Topher? That I
sure.
Okay. So this is a game that everyone can play. We can all play along together. So you guys are all going to use your mental energy on this, but you're not all going to say the thing out loud. So here's what I want to do. So who else is another brave soul that wants to volunteer? Who wants to raise their hand? This is all you're gonna have to do is say a word out loud. Okay, so I see Barbara Price raised her hand. Okay, Barbara, are you there? Are you off mute? Yes, yeah, I think you're off mute.
Yes.
Can you say
Yes,
something, Barbara?
okay.
Yes. Okay. Great. All right. So when Topher had mentioned this idea of working towards agreement, so that's part of improv is getting on the same page with people as soon as possible. So the game that we're gonna play is so normally when you do this in person, you say a word at the exact same time. So we do a countdown where we'll say 3, 2, 1, and then we'll each just say a random word. Okay. So as we're playing this game, I want everybody just to think in your head what your word would be. You're not going to say it out loud. Only Barbara and I are going to say it out loud. And then after we say these two totally different words, Barbara and I are going to think in our heads, what is the word that would be like the connecting word between the two of them? So for example, if I said boat and she said coffee mug, maybe we would both think of the word water because a boat goes in water and you can put water in a coffee mug, something like that. Like we're trying to find a middle ground and we're going to keep working towards it. We're going to do it 3 times in a row to see how close we can get to saying the same word. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So Barbara, I want you in your head to say, have any word in your head ready to say as we count down to 0. Okay. And then you say it out loud. And then just so because we can all hear what we're saying, I'll say my word right after yours, and then we'll see how close we are. Okay. Let me know when you have a word locked in. Good. Okay. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Crocodile.
And my word was marker. So I had marker in my head. She said crocodile. We're going to try and work towards agreement. So I want everybody right now in your head come up with the word that will be connecting somehow crocodile to marker. Okay. And then Barbara, you lock yours in, and then on the countdown, you'll say it again. Okay. You ready? Do you have a word locked in? Okay.
Okay.
Hey, and this is another fun part of this. There's no wrong answer. Like
Okay.
it could be anything. It could be anything.
Okay.
Like the goal of this game isn't to win. There's not like winners and losers in this.
Right.
It's just like a fun exercise. So everybody else lock in your idea too. Okay. So and this time now, just so we're not cheating, I'm gonna say mine at the same time, and then we'll just say it afterwards, just to see how close we get. Okay. So we had crocodile and marker. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Pen.
Green. What did you say?
Pen.
Pen. Okay, I said green. So then we've got green and pen. Okay, so now we're dancing around. So what is the connective word between green and pen? All right, so everybody think of your words in your head. What would you say for green and pen? Okay. Again, no wrong answers. Do you have something, Barbara?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1. Bic.
Crocs.
Crocs. Okay. Bic and Crocs. All right. So we'll do this is one more. Let's see if we can get it. So what would be the combination between Bic and Crocs? All right. Do you have something?
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Plastic.
Click.
Click. Okay. So you see, we got close. We got close. Now, show of hands, did anybody have any of the words we said as the next word that they had? A couple? Yeah, okay. That's great. Yeah. So sometimes you connect, but again, there's never a right answer. Does anybody else want to try that one with Topher? Do you want to do one, Topher?
Yes.
Okay. Mary Frances Bruce, are you raising your hand to do it? Okay, so unmute. So we'll have Mary Frances Bruce and
Yes.
Topher doing the same thing.
Okay.
All right. You want me to count you down, Topher?
Yes, please.
Okay. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Rock.
Man.
Okay, we had rock, and then what was yours, Mary Frances?
Superman.
Superman
Mhm.
and rock. Okay, everyone, get your idea in your head. Get it in your head. Don't say it out loud. Let's see how we get it. Are you ready? All right, 3, 2, 1.
Kryptonite.
Yeah!
Yes.
Woo! All right. I'm glad that this audience saw a winner on that. That was two words that had a great connection. That's great. But yeah, again, working towards agreement is always the fun of that, and figuring out making those connections, I think keeps your mind sharp.
The fun part of improv, part of it is you can't fail. Well, and also you fail all the time. If you don't fail, because you're making it up, sometimes it goes wrong. But if you don't fail, you never know how good you could have been. So that's the aim in improv, is to make these mistakes. Say I'm crossing the stage and I trip over a nail. It looks like a mistake. But the next time I cross the stage, I trip over the same imaginary nail and it looks like a pattern. And then on the third time, I miss the nail. But I notice it's there. So that breaks the pattern. Uh,
So
so-
speaking
yeah.
towards failure, can we do another little game, Topher?
Yes, please.
Okay. So this is one that I'll just let everybody as you go, you can be mindful and neighborly and just unmute and say something. So that when we think about failure, oftentimes, and this happens in life all the time, right? Is where you go into a situation and you're like, I know how this is going to go. I'm prepared for what this person's going to say. This is how the argument's going to work. It's like when we're in the shower, we always know we can pre-plan the argument we're about to have so that we win. And so the idea of this type of thing is, what if we're able to just have our idea of what something is, and let everybody else tell us what it is, and just have that be true. So the game for this is essentially, we're gonna pretend that I have like a box, like a present of something that's in the box. So in my mind, I know what the box is in my imagination. But what we're going to do is each of you are just going to unmute and one at a time tell me what's in the box. And then I'm just going to be wrong because I had something in my mind that it is, and I'm just going to accept what you said it is. And I'll give a reason why I'm excited to get that present. Okay? All right, so anyone can just jump in. I'm going to imagine that I have a box here, and then someone tell me what's in the box. Oh, I see somebody in the chat wrote feathers. So we'll start with that. Oh, feathers. Yeah, because I'm making that Big Bird costume and I needed some more feathers for my costume.
Necklace.
Oh, yeah, this is a necklace for sure. I always knew that this was a necklace because I was on the Titanic and my grandmother threw this into the river and I found it. So thank you.
Kitty litter.
I heard kitty litter. Yeah, so this is like a great present for kitty litter because I do have 2 cats and they like to go to the bathroom everywhere. So if I put this in the right place, maybe they'll go to the bathroom there.
Engagement ring.
That's
En- engagement ring. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I will marry you. I mean, I am married, but I'll marry you as well. Thank you.
Jack in the Box.
Frog. I just also wanted to acknowledge there's a lot of really good suggestions in the chat as well. I really like Ken's suggestion of the meaning of life.
The meaning of life. Well, I'll do a combination of the meaning of life and the Jack in the Box. Oh my God! Thank you so much. I just spin this, and then oh my God, the meaning of life popped out. That's exactly what I needed. Topher, do you want to go through? Can you see the chat, Topher?
Yes.
Why don't you go through the chat and just do each one in the chat?
All right.
And if it's
I can say
I
them
can
out loud
read
to
them to you if that's helpful.
Oh yeah, Charlotte, why don't you just read them to
Yeah.
Topher?
So Marcia gave the suggestion of puppy.
Thank you so much for these puppies. I just got a bunch of dog food as a gift, and I didn't know what to do with it.
And then our next suggestion is from Maureen, and it's apple.
Oh, thank you for this apple. I was so hungry, and I wanted to make a pie for you.
And then Francie gave the suggestion of diamonds.
Diamonds. Oh my God, thank you so much. There's so many things I want to cut.
And Anne gave the suggestion of a genie.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for this genie. There's so many things that I want.
And Mike gave the suggestion, the box is empty.
Oh my God, thank you so much. I have too much stuff already, but I appreciate this incredible offer.
And then
You know, some people say empty is the new full, so that's something to consider. I love that to Topher diamonds are for cutting things. What's the most valuable thing we have? Oh, you know, to cut things. It's like a steak knife. Who wants like a diamond steak knife? That's great. Lots of great suggestions in here. Maybe we'll use all of these suggestions for an exercise later. So that's good. That's awesome.
Cool. I'm going to try an exercise called Object Expert. And I'm going to, let's try something. I would like to paint a room. So details are very interesting in stories. They make people engaged and pulled in. I often say that in an improv show, people don't have to laugh the whole time. They'll go home feeling enriched by the experience, or they can laugh and feel empty inside. So not necessarily the laughter, it's the engagement and making people feel connected. So the thing I want to do is I need a room, just any kind of room.
A bedroom.
Oh, a bedroom, great. So let's color this. So I see in this bedroom there's a closet, and the closet is open, and there's dust coming out. Great. Does anyone else? So what else is in this room?
Let's try this. Let's
Yes,
see.
please.
So the form of this game is essentially people. If you want to engage, you put your little hand up on the Zoom, and for the hands, I'll call on people, and then you'll add one additional element of something that's in the bedroom or where something is located or the color, some kind of description of what's going on. And then, like we talked about building that cathedral, as you're listening, you can add on to other things and make the whole thing holistic. Okay, so I see a hand first off from Karen Bush. Okay, Karen, so what's next?
You see someone frantically throwing things out of the closet, trying to find something.
Okay, love that. All right, I see D Brown has her hand up.
She's not finding it, and she's looking around in every corner of the room.
Awesome.
That's great. All right, Mev.
Yeah, it turns out she throws a bowling ball and it just rolls across the floor and makes a huge noise.
That's great. Mary.
There are 3 trees, one in 3 of the corners of the room.
Interesting. Who's next? Who knows what kind of trees these are? Richie, you know what kind of trees these are? You're on mute.
Bubblegum trees.
All three bubblegum trees
All
in
three.
three corners of the room.
And they're all different colors. Each tree is a different color.
Oh, interesting.
I see Jean.
The bowling ball goes under the bed and it hits a cadaver.
Oh!
Cynthia, you're on mute. You're on mute. You got to unmute.
The cadaver screams.
All right.
All right, what furniture's here? Anybody have an idea what piece of furniture is in this room?
Anne, what do you think? Get unmute.
A Victrola.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's great. Very specific, really evocative.
Cynthia, what do you think's next?
A treadmill.
A treadmill.
Because that person has been eating so much sugar.
So Ken, what do you think?
Well, if you got 3 trees, then you got to have a tire swing at least.
That's a great point.
And
Susan, what do you think?
There's a bidet in the room.
That was great.
A wet bar.
Eileen, what do you think?
I think a lamp in the form of a flamingo.
An
Did I hear-
armoire.
An armoire?
An armoire.
An armoire. Love that. Let's take a step back because this is fun and this is interesting. So we painted this little scene. We've got some things going on. With any kind of art form, the more specific you get, the more fun it gets. When you can have more details, it becomes more interesting. It becomes more funny. It becomes more impressive. So let's think about the woman who has who was looking for the things and threw the bowling ball. So I want you people the same way, just say something about that woman's backstory, anything that's happened in her life, just some kind of detail about who she is, what she's about, what she's done, and let's kind of build out the world of what this woman is.
She's a champion bowler.
Okay, so she's a champion bowler. That makes the bowling ball make sense. Marcia, what do you think? You have to unmute.
Shelley.
She's got Alzheimer's.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
I hear Francis in the chat says she grew her hair to her knees. That's an interesting detail. And I wonder if that's in the past she did that, or if her hair is still currently down to her knees. Someone in the chat says they're a Groucho Marx impersonator. Okay, that's an interesting one. Ken, you got something?
Yeah, she has a phobia about cockroaches, and she doesn't want to get near them, and thought the bowling ball would be a good way to get.
Well, I'll tell you what, for somebody who has a phobia of cockroaches, having 3 living trees in your bedroom, like you're just asking for bugs. Like that's just, you're asking for trouble like that. All right, anybody else have anything?
Because she has Alzheimer's, she doesn't know what to do with the bowling ball, so she takes the bubble gum from the trees and she stuffs the holes with bubble gum.
All right, Anne Marie, what do you think?
I think she's a world famous bowling ball collector. And she's been reported to the police by her neighbors for excessive noise.
I have from Mike that she is an accountant.
Those vintage bowling balls cost money. You got to have a day job to be able to buy all those. Cynthia, what do you think?
Well, she's a trapeze artist and she juggles bowling balls while she's on the trapeze.
While wearing the Groucho Marx
Yes,
glasses.
exactly.
And also, according to Francie, the hair is red, white, and blue. Makes total sense.
That's great. All right, let's go with one more in the chat. She can't find her favorite bowling shoes and shirt. So there we go. Gene, did you want to get one more in before the line? What do you got?
I just want to say she was the wife of the cadaver under the bed.
I like how we're totally burying the lead on that one. Like there's a talking dead person under her bed, but that's just the final thing that we just that's a throwaway for this one. That's great. I love that. Thank you. So you see how you can, if you had to be like, hey, what's an interesting character to do a scene about, or someone you want to learn more from a story about, it's hard to just say straight away. But when everybody adds a little bit here and adds a little bit there, all of a sudden, we could write a 10-episode miniseries about this character and how she ended up getting to this place, and I'd watch it.
An exercise that I would like to do is in agreement, as we spoke of, and it also involves mirroring. So in improv scenes, mirroring people, I believe, is the easiest thing to do. Say someone has a French accent. If you copy that French accent, it's easier to keep going with it. And if you are with someone doing the exact same thing at the exact same time, you're very supported. There are mirroring neurons in the back of your head, so that when you do the same thing at the same time, feeling the same things as someone else, it's the closest your mind gets to firing those nerves in the same way. And so I feel like it's the closest you ever really get to knowing somebody, is when you're copying them exactly the same.
And I think in singing in a group, that's also that happens that way too, of where when all the voices kind of come together and you're all doing the exact same thing at the exact same time, you get those same mirror neurons triggering because you're all of the same voice.
So I would need two volunteers for this exercise. Greg, do you want to try duologue? Yeah. Sure. Who would like to try an exercise with Greg? It's very fun. I will give you an occupation. Would anyone like to try? Okay, great. Jean and Greg. So I'll interview you as if it's a TV show, and you just simply answer the questions. So, welcome to True Crime Network. It's great to have you here. You're both detectives. You're very, very, very well known. If you could just share your names, please, just your first name.
I'm Jen.
Jen, oh, it's nice to meet you.
And my name is Gren.
Oh, Jen and Gran. Wow,
Mhm.
that's is that a coincidence?
Jen and I met in the police force. We started doing police work on the very first day, and I looked at her and I said, "Hey, we're going to be best friends and partners for the rest of our careers." And we hit off from there.
We wanted our names to be similar so people could know how close we are.
Oh, so you altered your name a little bit?
Yeah, oh, we.
We
I heard you're on a big case. What is what is that big case about?
The big case is the cadaver under the bed in the
Oh, yeah.
bedroom of the old lady's house with the long hair.
Oh, wow, you're on that case. It's very, very popular. It's been in the news for months. Do you have any leads?
we have very many leads, so many, very many leads. Jen is actually really good because she's not a professional bowler, but she does love to bowl and has bowled, I believe, a 275 point game, close to 300, but didn't get exactly there because at the last minute she got a police call and had to leave the scene unfinished.
Yes, and I do this, and I am 90 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You're the oldest woman on the force, or there's someone older?
I think I'm the oldest.
Oh, wow.
Yes, she is the oldest, but she is also the sharpest. So if we
Ah,
need, she's the one who cracked the mystery of the riddles of the Gumtree riddles.
ah. Oh, wow, the Gumtree riddles.
Hmm.
Wow, that's incredible. That was in the newspapers.
No, and I didn't know what a gum tree is because I'm not a native speaker of English.
Hmm. And that's actually what helped her solve it because she was able to think about it from a different way.
We called all the gumshoes that we knew.
Or as some people call it, the gum zapatos.
Oh, no, mais pas en français.
Oh.
Could you tell me about the one that got away? You did have one case that didn't go well.
That was Glen's fault.
That was my fault. Yeah.
You know, he's so young.
Oh, Gren, how old are you?
I'm 22,
Mm-hmm.
and what the problem was that the APB bulletin came out and they said we're looking for someone who looks like Groucho Marx, and I don't know who that is. So Jean knew who it was, and I just let a person walk by with big glasses and a big nose and mustache, and I just didn't even think to stop him, and I let that person get away.
Yes. The cigar gave him away, but he didn't notice.
I didn't notice. I didn't know. They could have just said, find the guy with the mustache and the cigar, and I would have stopped him. But they said Groucho Marx, and I didn't know who that was.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate you coming on here. Nice job. Nice job, Jen. Wonderful,
Good
wonderful.
job.
So, if I could ask you a question about that, how did that feel? Was it very, very challenging to you, or did it come naturally?
I don't know. I thought it got boring about halfway through.
Did anybody? It did not. It did not. This is what I'm talking about. It's people are engaged with it. It doesn't have to be, I mean, there were really funny parts, but it doesn't have to be hilarious all the way
I
through.
think if we had picked up on the part that I'm 90 and he's 20 and we're having an affair, I could have added a little spice to the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, you know what's interesting, and this gets into a little bit like the craft of an improv comedy show that you'd go and see. So if you went to the Second City in Chicago, or you went to Improv Olympic, or any of the famous places that comedy people do shows like this, what you'll normally have is you'll have multiple beats of the same character. So this might be the first time that you see these characters and you're getting understanding of who they are, what they're about. And then other scenes will happen, and then we would come back and we would be the same characters further along in the story. So the next beat might be us, getting out of bed, each smoking a cigarette and saying like, we shouldn't do this. Like where sometimes you at the beginning of a show when you're having characters, you're building a foundation of what can happen next. And I feel like with those two characters, I could think of 10 different directions to take them that would be funny. So I think it was well done.
Great. Would someone else like to try? I see any hand raised or anyone in the chat? Oh, sure, Anita.
Said she's not in the meeting anymore, so I don't know if her connection got lost.
Great. Anyone else? Anyone else? No?
I can do it.
Oh, Ken, great.
It's the same scenario where we role play.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Greg, can I still be the interviewer or?
Yeah, yep, happy to. All right, so again, this is a documentary TV show. We're interviewing the two of you because you are the top people in your field. Both of you just came off of having your successful restaurant together, get your first Michelin star. Now both of you have had separate restaurants that each got Michelin stars. This is the first time you've worked together to achieve that honor of being fantastic chefs. So I guess, to that means like what were the challenges of working together to create this restaurant?
I think the first challenge was figuring out whose name to put first on the sign.
Well, yes, that was a problem because my name is just one letter.
Right.
And that was confusing, and yours is a little longer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, we worked it out.
Yeah, we worked it out. We worked it out eventually. But the business is going really well. We have a lot of customers, especially since we got that new rating.
Yeah. Well, I know that the fusion aspect of you putting two different styles of foods together. So Topher, tell me what your style of food was, and tell me, Ken, what your style of food was, and then how did you mash them together?
I come with a Tex-Mex background, so I have like spicy tastes and a lot of traditional tacos and enchiladas, but also a lot of good barbecue.
Mm-hmm. And Ken, what was your food style?
I'm more kinesthetic. When I think about dining, I like things that don't require a lot of thought and they're kind of repetitive. So I lean towards things that are maybe tubular shaped, like hot dogs. Stuff. There's something you could even put in. You could just use like a caulking gun and just put it in your mouth. But that doesn't lend itself to fine dining. So we had that clash. How do you make a tubular? We're just you're providing your nutrients, tasty and still somewhat of a pleasant experience.
Yeah. Well,
Our
when the New York
cannolis
Times,
are delicious.
Yeah, which ones?
The cannolis are delicious.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, when the New York Times food critic reviewed your restaurant, they raved about your hot dog taco. And so was there what the type of toppings that you put on your hot dog taco weren't traditional ones. Where did you end up deciding on the toppings?
Well, first we had to decide what to use, but then in what way there's two ways you can go with a hot dog. You can either try to make a big hot dog and stuff the stuff inside of it, or you surround it. I mean, it's, in whichever way you want to go, which one do you present? So that was a big problem. And Topher, I don't know how you worked that out finally.
Yeah, we had a vote in the restaurant with our new customers, and they weren't sure. It didn't go, so we eventually had to drop it from the menu.
Well, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of things we had to drop from the menu, and some of them were, at the request, I'll say, request of the health department.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so you had some very famous guests at your restaurant. Who was the guest, the famous guest you were most excited to serve?
I think um, Dolly Parton, she came in, and it was someone that we both liked. I liked the Southern flair, and Ken, you also liked her singing.
I mean, she was spectacular, and now I think who was her date? That guy was a little odd, but they mixed well. It's just that he kept, I don't know, he kept jittering around and he kept getting up and dropping his silverware, and I don't know whether maybe he was just nervous because he was with a famous celebrity.
Yes, 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 yes.
And that was Barack Obama, I think, is
Yes.
what it said in the interview. It was Barack Obama and Dolly Parton were there together.
They were that was and it never really got, I think the New York Post had an article on it, and it might have been, I don't know, Breitbart, but I think it was kind of downplayed a lot.
All right. So for the final question, what's the feeling that you want your diners to have as they leave your restaurant?
Well, again, going back to that couple of incidents with the health department, I think stability, gastroenteritic stability would be one important factor. Don't you think? I mean, you want them to go out and be able to continue their day and sort of and feel fulfilled. So, I mean, what do you think, Topher? Is that something
I do. I also want them to feel like they spent a lot of money.
that's important? Yes, yes.
It's important to
And
us.
so it must have been a great experience, even though basically they were just given kind of a tube to with some kind of stuff, protein, mystery meat. I mean, we have all had.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, what's wrong with that?
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks.
Great job.
That's fun. That's fun.
Food is always a subject of laughter for me. That's why I jumped on that one.
Well, I think it's for people to jump in and do this stuff and kind of just let it rip. It's genuinely one of the bravest things. Like, I always think about when they have the lists of like people's most biggest fears, and it's like public speaking and then death. So whenever anybody raises their hand to do some level of public speaking without practice, I understand how challenging that is for folks. So I applaud all of you, even just for showing up to this tonight to take all of this in.
Great. I wanted to look at something a little theoretical. Can we look at the rule of threes? It's something we use in improv. As I said, I tripped over a nail, and then I didn't trip over the nail. And this is my own little guide to this. It's just the first one is just straight across. It's just normal reality. I love your dog. I love your cat. I love your hamster. And then we flip it so it's a little more increased, like the awesome because. I love your dog. I love your cat. I love your mom. And then the third one, I love your dog. I love your cat. They were delicious. So on the third thing, you can completely change the entire context for people. And a lot of the times, that's the most fun thing. Yeah.
For sure. Did you have a specific exercise for that one, Topher?
Oh, sure.
I have one if you want to.
Yeah, please.
So yeah, so the rule of threes, and we talk about this like with patterns, and I think different people have different aptitudes for finding pattern. I think music is patterns, mathematics is often patterns, and you're getting a feel for kind of as things are coming at you, what is the pattern. So what we'll do is because like Topher mentioned, so when you're making a pattern, the first time you say something is the thing. The next thing that you say is the coincidence, and the third thing locks in the pattern. So, for example, if I said Ford, and Topher then said Chevy, then the third person, if they said Ferrari, then we have a pattern of the names of car brands. But if I said Ford and Topher said Chevy, and then someone else said bicycle, now we just have patterns of things that can take you places, or vehicles, or things with wheels, you know? So the third thing is really the thing that locks in a pattern. So what I want us to do in kind of the same way as we can each kind of say one word, and then the next person can say something. So we'll do the same thing where if you want to raise your hand, I'll point to each person, but so you have to listen to the thing that came before you to figure out what the pattern is. Okay,
I just had two things. One, I wanted to call attention to what Sheila said in the chat about the New York Times game Connections. That's a really good example of for putting the things together. And then also, would you like me to play the clip on patterns that we have, or wait till after the game, or not play it at all?
It's only 1 minute. Greg, can we watch it?
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Yeah, let me go ahead and share that for you. Here we go. Let me make sure to share the sound. And then let me know if the sound is too loud for y'all, because I'm not.
Regarding repetition, deviation, and patterns, my dear friend Sean Lennon had this to say.
We recognize patterns, obviously. There's symmetry in our face, and there's, the seasons are repeating, and our heartbeats repeating. And so we like symmetries and we like patterns because they imply a sort of eternity, It feels like the clockwork of the solar system is just going to keep going and going. But there's another side of it that actually, those patterns are temporary, We're not eternal. We die. And so I think the fact that the pattern breaks, and the seasons stop passing for us and we pass away is more of a reflection of the truth. And that's why art is sort of, if you could summarize all art as playing with this idea of patterns and repetition, and good art is the art that sort of understands when those are broken and when to break them.
When to repeat and when to deviate.
And when to give you a little surprise,
Yeah, that's great. All right, so to start off, let me have three people want to raise their hand, and we'll play with those three people. So all you have to do is just say one word, and we'll see what kind of a pattern that we can create. Okay. So who would be interested in just saying a word? Okay.
Moon.
Oh.
Okay, so the first word we have is moon. Moon. Dia, are you raising your hand?
Oh, I just said moon.
Oh, you said moon. Okay. All right. So what's okay, Mary Frances.
Coconut.
All right. So we have moon and coconut. So let's see what is the third word that's going to lock in what this pattern is. Barbara. Mm-hmm.
Circle.
That's good. I was going to say round.
You were going to say round. Okay. Great. So so from a pattern standpoint, what's another thing that's round? So we're not trying to name this pattern yet. We're trying to just have things in the kind of the same category.
Bowling ball.
Okay. That's great. Yeah. So if we said moon, coconut, and bowling ball, then we know now, okay, we're talking about things that are round. We're talking about things that are spheres. But let's see if we can think of something that would have changed it. if we would have said moon, coconut, and then beach ball, maybe then the pattern is things that you see at night on a beach vacation. So depending on what the third things, it can change the pattern. Or so let's do another one of those. Okay, so who wants to say a first word?
Anne Hayes. Hold on.
Yep, sir. Waterfall.
Waterfall. Okay. What could be a second word?
Fire hydrant.
Great. So we have waterfall, fire hydrant.
Water pistol.
Water pistol. Great. Okay. So waterfall, fire hydrant, water pistol. So then what is the pattern? What does that pattern mean to people?
Pressure, water pressure.
Rushing water.
Water
Rushing
pressure.
water. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm trying to think of what other things, what other third thing that could have changed that. So if you said, yeah, a hose. Yeah, no, that's great. All right, let me see. All right, let's see if I'll tell you what, I'm gonna do, Topher, why don't you say a word, then I'll say something, and then we'll see if we can lock in a pattern that way.
Dance.
Dance. Okay. Peloton bicycle riding.
What?
Stationary bicycle riding.
Oh.
Skiing.
Okay. So what's that pattern?
Exercise.
Yeah. Yeah.
On your feet.
That's right. Yep. You can get as specific as possible, and that can be part of the fun sometimes, and the challenge of how specific can you get when you get into the patterns of if you said dance and stationary bicycle riding, those are things that are like kind of usually classes like inside a building. So could you be as specific as like exercise within the building or exercise that you can do by yourself? Depending on how you lock in the different patterns, you can get as specific as you want to make it more interesting.
How does this, I wonder how this connects to music and songs, this 3-beat pattern and this, the connection and being specific. Like how is a song structured?
Like what Ken said in the chat about going for predictability syncopated with the non sequitur. And then Karen mentioned verses as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what is that? Line, verse, and what's the interlude?
The bridge?
Bridge, yes. Somewhere Over the Rainbow is a very, very good example of that. Very simple.
Except it has an octave jump in it.
Is that special? Is that a unique thing? I know there's only a few I can think of.
Can
Makes
be
it-
very difficult.
Makes it very hard to sing if there's an octave one after another.
So it compares the simplicity with the complexity also. Because the other lines are pretty simple.
So my wife is very good at singing that song. She sang it to our kids when they were young to put them to sleep. And then when she wasn't there, I would have to try and sing it. And I am very bad at it. And it was like, if you like, that's like the song I've sang the most and never gotten better at it. It was like going back out to be like, well, still not good at this. Try it again. Not going to get it.
Great.
There's also times that we sing the same rhythm, and the first two times they're identical, the notes, the pitches are identical, and then the third time it changes. It's still the same words maybe and the exact same rhythm, but the tone changes because we're taking it down or up, resolving in some way.
Also did some callbacks where the end is the beginning. There are people like the bowling ball came back and reminded us of something beginning, and I think songs do that, right?
Themes,
Yeah.
themes and variations.
And they can also sometimes have dual meanings. So you start with an idea, and then that idea gets turned around because of the change in time or the of the story of the song.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome.
There's a question there's a comment in the question
Yeah, I
comment
saw
in the
that.
chat. Yeah. So the question is the third thing supposed to have a surprise twist to be funny, or is it supposed to be the same to reinforce the pattern? That's a great question, and it's an interesting to just think about it in total about like what the point of comedy is. So when people ask me like, well, what is funny? I often give like a textbook answer, which is comedy is a subversion of expectations. So you expect one thing and you get another thing. So it's a disruption of the why you think something is interesting. And I was just having a conversation with a guy the other day, and I was talking about this stuff, and he was like, "Well, how do you write a joke? Like how do you find out what's funny?" And what I said to him is that, because I think there's like the secondary meaning of comedy to me is it moves energy. I think music does this too, where it's something that you don't necessarily know why, but it's moving energy through you, and you're having an involuntary relationship to it, where it's making your body do something and you're not sure exactly why, because it's moving energy. And so the thing about moving energy, I always go back to if something happens in my life and I get really mad about it, even though it makes me mad, I'm like, there's something funny here. Like either my expectation of how life is supposed to show up isn't being met, or someone else is being completely unreasonable. But if I'm mad, then there's something to explore here to see what the comedy is here. And then likewise, if something happens and it just makes me laugh involuntarily, like I don't know why it's funny to me, like if I just laugh out loud to myself, I'm like, all right, go write that down, because for some reason that situation it moved energy through me to be able to feel something. So that my answer to the question is of what is comedy is either subversion of expectation, or it's just something that moves energy through you involuntarily. But to answer the question specifically of is it supposed to be funny? So I think that comedy in general is like there's certain comedy where your job is to make people laugh. Like they show up, you've told them you're going to make them laugh, and your job is to tell jokes and make them laugh. But then there's also other versions of, you can make people feel things and you can have an interesting thing, and maybe they're not laughing, but they're amused and enriched by it. So all things considered, you just have to decide what kind of comedy or show or piece of art you're trying to make and what you want to have the audience feel. So it's totally fine to do a trick third one and have it change, or it's fine to just play it straight. And Mike Myers, the comedian Mike Myers, did Wayne's World and Austin Powers and all that. He had a thing where he said comedy is basically telling people the thing they want to hear you say again. So it's like if you're leading someone somewhere, sometimes if you just do the thing the third time, that's really funny. But if you don't do the thing the fourth time, that can be funny too. So sometimes it's just giving people what they want, and that makes them happy, and sometimes it's pulling the rug out from under them, and that makes them happy too. So it could go either way.
But it is also still getting laughed at, which feels so good. But also moving people. I know Greg's done both kinds of improv, something that's more heartfelt.
Yeah, and I think now we're just talking about, hey, we're a bunch of musicians, a bunch of comedians, just all hanging out on a Wednesday night, talking about making art. And I think that there's a lot of different ways you can do it, but you get to a certain point where I think you think, like, what can I explore more about myself through the art? And then sometimes that's funny, and sometimes it's not funny. And but to be able to use the medium as a way to interpret what's going on in your life, where you're at in that exact moment, replay things from your past. It's a means to find out more about who you are as you're doing it. So I think that, to me, that's the most fun part of it now. It's not just making people laugh because I know how to make people laugh. It's how can I explore the specificity of my life that will be recognizable in other people and help them think about their lives in a different way.
Like, I consider myself, pretty political, but on stage, I never have. I think it's just because for me, it's about personal dynamics and how people treat each other, and act interpersonally. So for me, it's more challenging to bring in other ideas or other topics. Yeah.
Yeah. In the chat, Anne Marie said, someone said that when I slip on a banana peel, it's a tragedy. When you slip on a banana peel, it's comedy. I think there's some truth to that.
Yes. So are there any questions? We're getting close to the end here. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes. Have you
Yes.
ever had a situation where someone that you were interacting with on stage said something that was inappropriate, hateful? And then how do you deal with that? How do you turn it around?
I think you can deal with difficult subjects in an intelligent way, in a thoughtful way. And if you could take what they said and turn it around into like commentary in some way, I think you can, I think it can be fixed a little. Although I did see a show that I thought was inappropriate, and the person next to me was clapping, and I said, don't encourage them.
And also, I would chime in, if you ever are trying improv and you're in a situation where you feel like uncomfortable, you're also like, even though there's but if there's ever anything that you don't feel comfortable with, or someone puts you in a uncomfortable situation, you're fully in your right to just step out of the scene and be like, hey, like, I don't feel comfortable with this subject matter, and people shouldn't question you or whatever. It's because I know in a lot of improv circles that I'm in, like, over the past like 10 or so years, consent has been a huge thing, and checking in with people and making sure what things are on the table or off the table, because the way I take it is you can go anywhere and do anything in improv. It's just everyone should be along for the ride, because as one of the slides said, like, the play, and as Topher and Greg have mentioned throughout, the play is the point. So if it's not fun, why are we doing it? And kind of speaking to what Topher and Greg have been talking about, of like the different types of improv and stuff, there's also a lot of my friends do a lot of improv in different genres. genres, just kind of like, you know, and they could be inspired by music, or I just did tech for a show where they were inspired by the Twilight Zone. So I think the main thing is just anyone can do anything. It just, everyone should be along for the ride because it should be fun. So I
Yeah,
just
different people have different levels of comfortability. I went to an improv festival, and the teacher said, "What makes you comfortable, like being touched? Where do you want to be touched?" And I thought to myself, I don't know these people, and I said to them, "I don't want to be touched." So that was my own comfortability level. So it's different also in, different situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, Greg?
One of the things that I like to think about too is, and this is like in any kind of creative space. I saw a video one time where it was like I think it was like the archetype of the wizard, and the idea of like a wizard, a creative person, where you're kind of like casting a spell on a space, and like within that space, like you're creating an environment for people to be really heard and valuable, and like get a good relationship. And I think so much of having people be on the same page in these things is the person who's leading it, the person who's guiding it, and the space that they create in order to there's like an energetic way that people know whether something's appropriate to do or not. So sometimes you show up to a place, and I went to a stand-up open mic at this coffee shop the other day, place I'd never been to before. It was like late at night, and I walked in, and I was just like, "Oh, this place is like the Wild West." Like, nobody, people are gonna say whatever they want here. This is gonna be bad. Like you walk into it, you just know, like, all right, I'm just gonna be prepared to be offended, because that's just like the vibe of like what these people have created here. And then I've walked into other places, and I'm like, this is the warmest, most nurturing place ever. Could you imagine saying something nasty here? I couldn't. Like, they would run, you'd be so embarrassed they'd run you out of here. So I think some of that is, understanding the space that you're in, and having a good person, and showing up to places where you feel supported, and that the things that you're trying to do is what everyone else is trying to do.
I wanted to put up 2 more slides. Does anybody have any questions before I do that? I don't like when comics try to get cheap laughs by saying swear word after swear word and making people uncomfortable, so they laugh in discomfort. I was told by my first artistic director that I needed to stop swearing because it would be in every show and every scene, and it made me laugh. And I'd just gotten out of college. And once I took that tool away, everything else just flourished when I couldn't rely on something like that. Yeah.
There's a great Jerry Seinfeld quote where he talks about telling a joke or making somebody laugh is like doing a lap around like a race car track, and swearing is just like driving through the middle of the track and not doing the full lap. It's like you still get to the finish line, but you didn't earn it because you have to go all the way around the track. So I think about that as you have to use things like that sparingly, because if that's all it is, then there's nothing there.
Great. Any other questions? Charlotte, could you just throw up the list of those books? There's really, I grew up and I learned improv reading the book Improvise by Mick Napier. So I would suggest that. And that's pretty easy to remember, improvise. And the second one is, actually there's 3, Truth and Comedy. And the last one is Free Play, which I would strongly suggest. I tried to highlight it, and became no use because I highlighted the whole book. Do you have any books you like, Greg?
Truth and Comedy was a big one for me. I really love that. I think that like I think about improv, and I think about writing, and kind of like music too. It's like poetry, in that you're trying to get the maximum emotional effect with the fewest words. And so I think I always like to think of it like a poet of how can I say less? How can I make the thing that I'm doing maybe physically or whatever, or you're always trying to find like the exact right word or the right thing for it. And I think that the more it's almost like the more you do it, the less you need to do. And that gets fun the longer you go.
And there's two theaters I'll mention at the very end here. Washington Improv Theater has a great shows and a great classes program. They even have a musical improv conservatory in DC. And I would definitely suggest going to see some of their musical improv. And DC Improv downtown has an improv set of classes if if you're interested. Yeah, cool. Any final
Can you
questions?
repeat the names of those books that you mentioned, both of you?
Sure. The first is Improvise by Mick Napier. The second one is Truth in Comedy
By Sharna Halpern.
by Sharna Halpern. And the third one is Free Play by Stephen Nachmanovich.
And Greg, you mentioned one too?
The Truth in Comedy was the one.
And then
that,
okay.
Yeah, that was the one that it was written by the person who did Improv Olympic, and Mike Myers is one of the co-writers on it. So it's like that's the comedic worldview of like everybody who came out of Chicago back then, like Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and Chris Farley and all those people who ended up on Saturday Night Live all came out of that world of comedy.
Yeah, and I'll throw one out there for any of y'all who might be music teachers and educators, is Viola Spolin's book. What is it? I know she has several different books. I'm trying to think of the main one. Hold on, I'm pulling it up. Improvisation for the theater. And then also her granddaughter is Aretha Sills, who's Paul Sills' daughter, who created the Compass Players, who later went on to form Second City. And Aretha does workshops for teachers both virtually and in person across the country. So you can look at violaspolin.org for that resource. And then it has a lot of just information about learning more about comedy too, as well. Oh yeah, Stephen Colbert, yep. Good old Second City guy. And then
All right, great.
I also put the titles of the book in the chat. And then I'm also going to put the link to the Viola Spolin website there as well for y'all. And
Thank you all.
And then I can put the link for WIT and the DC Improv in the chat for y'all as well.
Great. Well, we are at time. So I want to take a moment and thank Topher and Greg and Charlotte for being here this evening, and thank you all for being willing to play and have fun. I know it's a little different being online than being in the room together, but thank you so much for being willing to engage, and I hope you enjoyed it. I had some good laughs. You all were very creative, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much, Topher and Greg and Charlotte, for being here. If you want to revisit this masterclass, give us about a week to just download it and clean it up a little bit, and then it will be emailed out to you. This just stays with our registered folks, so we appreciate you keeping that within our group here tonight. So thank you again, and we'll be back next month. So watch the newsletter for our next masterclass for August. Thanks so much. Have a great night, everybody.